60 to 40. And the punish legislators who don't balance the budget passed by 70%. And that is in one of the most liberal states in the union, and that was in San Francisco area, across the board. Most people are not political. The O'Reilly factor, what, gets 5 million viewers? Say there are 6 or 7 million people, maybe 8, who watch the cable talk shows. There are 130 million voters. So if you're watching Fox or any of CNN or MSNBC, you're a political junkie, and you are not like 95% of the public. That's what the battle is for, but you need the army to reach them. And we can't just do it. I mean, I agree with you, everything you said is right, but we need an organized force to reach all those people that are out there. Well, you're the party.
As individuals.
You need to form a very large coalition based on a very few, very basic propositions. Do not try to get the laundry list of everything you'd like to see achieved into the mix. Basic things. The economy and the war on terror, those are the two big ones.
Yes.
I think the thing that the Democrats has been the most successful at is that they have reached out to what I call the Hearst population, which is, you know, Randolph Hearst went out for the poor underdogs. So they have all these college kids that don't pay taxes. I don't see a lot of college kids in here. If this was an Obama deal, you'd have all of UCSB in here. You'd have all these 18 and 20-year-olds. They don't pay taxes. So you have this army of people that aren't paying for his policies against us who are funding it. And they have been really smart in that they have entrenched themselves in the universities, in our public education system. They now fund all these government workers and all of their little pensions. They're in the arts, they're in film, they're in the judicial system. They are so entrenched in our society that it's like that goo you get when you touch a germ, it goes on your hands and glows. Everywhere you go in society now, it permeates. You can't get a kid through college now because they come home. I had a second grader at Cold Spring School came home and said, Martin Luther King was president. I said, well, who's your teacher, honey? Because I'm going right in and straightening her out. You bet. He was probably a civil rights leader, but he was never president. And, you know, my kid came home and I had a long talk with the teacher. I said, what are you doing teaching this stuff? This is the problem. They're so entrenched in our society, we can't reverse the damage.
No, I disagree with you, can't reverse the damage. How did they take over our educational system? It's because all those conservative trustees, all the parents who sent the kids, let it happen. Basically, nobody challenged them. And of course, you know, it's difficult. You got a kid in a class and you don't want to put the pressure on them and you don't want to say anything. But that's what's going on. And, you know, that's why I'm the happy conservative, because I suddenly see a lot of people understanding this, don't have to really explain it, and angry and ready to do something. So start doing it. You can, look, we have basic principles of fairness still in this country. That is, it's very hard to argue against fairness. It's hard to argue. If you go down to the local college or you go to the high school, you look at the reading list that your kids are getting, and you say, look, this is a very controversial issue. Why aren't you presenting two sides? It would be very hard for them, you know, to blow you off. The fact of the matter is that people don't do it. We don't have people banging on the doors. We don't have people, you got to make a nuisance of yourself. That's what the left does. The left is basically bought off. It's like they attack corporations, so the corporations give them money.
This young lady right here, and then there and there.
David, what sort of strategy could you devise for infiltration of this movement by open borders people like Dick Armey? That's one question.
Well, I don't think he's infiltrated. He's sort of there.
That's what?
I don't, it's not like infiltration is when you conceal
Conceal it, well, he certainly is
didn't
influential.
conceal it.
No.
You know, I think borders are a huge issue and for national security and for sovereignty. So, you know, make a lot of noise. Politics is, there's no fix. I can't tell you how many times conservatives will come to me and they want a law that will fix something or a Supreme Court decision. It's a battle, and you have to win the battle, and it's a trench warfare. So you fight that. I think the borders issue is a key issue, and it should be fought.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Karen Roush, and I'm happily married with two beautiful little girls, 5 and 7. And just recently, my daughter, the 7-year-old, told me she wants to be a nurse. And my first thought was, oh God, because the Obamacare thing went through. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that's not really a good profession at this point, you know? And where do you go from there to tell your child it's a really good job, but what's going to happen down the road, and how are you going to be able to deal with reality of the horrifying socialist agenda?
You are a true blue conservative because you are such a pessimist. This little girl is 7 years old. By the time she's 10, Obama will be out.
My name's Dan Petrie. I actually have a residence in Arizona, and I also live here in Santa Barbara. And one thing that really amazes me about traveling between Arizona and California is they are totally unique. You travel 400 miles, and it's like you're going to 2 different countries. But the one thing that I do know about California is, excuse me, is it's a sleeping giant. And the people that live in California here 24/7 have a tendency to get inured to the power that California has over the rest of the nation. I mean, Arizona is almost a territorial type of situation. We just passed, you know, you don't even have to conceal permit anymore, which is great for us, especially down in the battle in Yuma. But when I'm over here in California, the one thing that I try to tell people is, look, you got the power in your hands, you just don't realize you do have it. I don't think that the left side of the equation is, I think somebody else said it here, is near as large as the conservative side. It's just that, like you were saying, the conservative side is far more quiet, and you've got to wake that up. That's why California is such a sleeping giant.
Just never forget that 70% of the people in this state voted to balance the budget. 70%. There's a majority out there, just you got to go get it.
My name is Roland Jacks. I own several businesses in the area. Let's suppose that at the next presidential election, Obama is reelected. What do you suppose that he's reelected? What would you then recommend? In other words, if you can't get rid of these leftists at the ballot box, then what?
Well, look, people have to remember that Obama, what did he get? He got 53% of the vote. Did he get that? Yeah. So, and how many people voted? You're talking about somebody who won whatever it was, 60, 70. Anybody know? I don't remember that. Millions of people voted for him. You have to fight the political battle. You know, again, I think it goes with being a conservative. You know, you're creating businesses, you're doing positive things, you hate politics. You don't like politics. Leftists love politics. They're in it. We have to learn, you know, to grit our teeth and fight the political battle. You know, I often give this example when I say that people on the left and on the right are not the same people. Gosh, I forgot this woman's name, but it's probably just as well. I know her first name was Helen. She was the typical leftist. She was the head of the teachers union in Los Angeles Teachers Union. And when she was about 57 years old, she decided that she wanted to run for the LA City Council. Now, I don't even remember how many people are on the council, but if there are 15 members of the city council, 14 of them are Democrats, or 15, from all I know. But she decided that she wanted to run for city council. A conservative would say, I got better things to do than be the 15th or 14th Democrat on a 15-member council. And it's kind of a sad story in the end, because what she did, she had to go to a meeting at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon to, you know, recruit 5 people to knock on doors and put up signs. And she was clutching in one arm her literature and the other her signs to meet with these people. And she ran across Wilshire Boulevard and was hit by a car and killed her. Now, her name was Helen Bernstein, actually. I don't know of a single Republican that was killed in the line of duty. We've got to develop somewhat more that urgency and that mentality. And your concern is good. You just, you know, use that as fuel to apply yourself to the political battle. We can win the political battle, but only if we fight it.
Gentleman standing against the wall.
I do my best, you know, to do my part, to talk to people. I write letters. I do email exchanges relentlessly, constantly, all the time, to my own detriment, to my waste of my time. I feel like I'm beating my head against the wall when you're talking to a liberal. And I'm on a quest to find that one issue that will serve as the first of the dominoes that will begin to open their eyes and get them to see what the heck is going on, and America is not your enemy. 2 questions. First is, what do you suggest for such an issue, like a domino issue? And the second question is, do you think there's any way to change California to proportional versus winner-take-all? I think that would really help us in the presidential
proportional is a disaster. Wherever it's been tried, you don't want proportional representation. Look, I mean, where is it going to hit the? We're going to get a value-added tax, a sales tax. He swore that 95% of the people aren't going to pay more taxes. I will tell you right now, 100% of the people are going to pay more taxes, including the people who don't pay any income tax. So that's the point of vulnerability right there.
Yes, sir.
I've been involved in politics for a long time, and I've won some wars and I've lost some wars. But they keep gaining. I think you mentioned early on that the socialists or leftists go back, what was it, 1700 or some awful...
The 18th century.
18th century.
Modern.
Yeah. And so my question is, and I'm going to assume that with people as wild as they are now, that we're going to really gain some ground in 2010 and perhaps eliminate Obama in 2012. But how do we go on and maintain sort of a professional army that's there all the time to protect us when everyone else puts their arms down and goes home to live their lives?
Well, you know, a lot of their army is those unions. And I talk myself blue in the face to, you know, people like Tom DeLay and whoever I could buttonhole, probably Dick Arley, to try to get them, to me it's not that difficult. You get a Hatch Act. The Hatch Act denies federal workers from engaging in politics. So you get a Hatch Act for government unions and corporate government suppliers. And you define